Hi, I'm Carrie Smith.
And I'm Emma Skip, and welcome to It's a Death Sentence.
This is a podcast that takes a lighter look at the heavier things.
So, if you want some of this... So somebody could have been dead for a week and end up with you.
Or maybe longer, and somebody might have said, oh, there's a really bad smell.
A little bit of this.
I haven't got a tissue. I'll get one. You got one. And plenty of this.
So original. Fucking hell. Then this is the show for you. Because
Life,
it's a death sentence.
I always get scared when I
What
start
am I
recording.
going to say?
You ready, swear? Are you ready?
I don't know.
Right, so today's guest is James Novak Young. I've known you for a long time, James. So welcome to It's a Death Sentence on her maiden voyage.
Thank you very much.
So can you tell us a bit about yourself?
Yeah.
When you're ready, Bab.
I was about to say my name's James. So yeah, as Carrie said, my name's James and I'm 43 years old. I currently work in export for a company in Birmingham and I teach English as well part-time. Yeah, very excited to be participating in this podcast.
Oh, brilliant. It's
Yeah.
lovely to have you.
Thank you.
So we're going to be talking about death, which
Uh-huh.
I know is a tricky subject
Yeah.
for most.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but should it be really? That's the question.
Well, this is it. This is
Yeah.
the whole point, really. It is inevitable, like I said, but are you scared about dying?
Yeah.
Are you? What scares you?
I mean, yes, in the sense I don't sit and stay awake at night worrying about it, but it is because it's the end of everything, isn't it? It's the end of you, essentially, your existence, and
Yeah.
potentially, depending on what you believe, it could be everything. There's nothing left, no more memories, no more feelings, no more knowledge.
But it's the natural order of things, isn't it?
Of course it is.
Can you remember the first time you experienced death or anything to do with death as a child even? What's your first experience of it?
Oh, the first experience. I think we had a dog who died when I was very young, but I don't really remember that. It must have been explained to me at a young age, but don't remember it at all. But the first experience of death I had was my grandmother. So we're talking, 1987, so I would have been about 5 or 6 years old. And I don't remember being too fazed by it, if I'm honest. I think I was perhaps a bit too young. So yeah, that was probably my first experience of death. And then obviously a couple of years later, my mum passed away, which was the biggie, if you like. So that was the first time that I was really confronted with death in a life-changing way.
It's massive though. Losing somebody like that is like the biggest change you could have, especially at that age.
And it's very hard to explain, I suppose, I think.
Did it make you more fearful about losing other people?
Yes, I suppose it did, in a way, but not to a huge extent. But I definitely remember, when my dad was ill. Luckily, it wasn't anything that was life-threatening, but he was in hospital a few years later, and I was still quite young, and I was, understandably, petrified I was going to be an orphan. But it didn't. Thankfully, didn't transpire. But
Your mum was poorly, wasn't she?
Yeah,
She
yeah.
passed.
Yeah.
Do you think that made it easier to understand that it wasn't just a sudden death? It was, you knew she was poorly. Did you understand that she was poorly before she died?
Oh God, I knew she was poorly. Yeah, definitely. But I didn't know she was going to die. So in a sense, it was just as much of a shock because, I had no idea. So because it was my age, and I think again this comes down to the attitude around death, especially where children are concerned. I think is people didn't tell me even when they knew. They just they didn't, and I don't know why. I don't think if they were afraid, or they didn't want to upset me, or they didn't know what to say, or they didn't have the word. Yeah, they didn't have the words, but I didn't know, so it was a shock. Yeah.
I suppose it's knowing how to explain it to a child.
Yeah, exactly. I'd struggle myself. I'm not saying it's easy.
Because death is so final.
Yeah.
And for them to understand that that person's not coming back, It's very difficult.
And when it's that child's own mother, I think it's probably the hardest thing to do, isn't it? So
I know then your dad was around for many years, and your dad's no longer with us, is he?
No,
He's passed as well. Did you feel that when you lost him, did you feel a bit more prepared for it?
No, I felt a different kind of pain in that sense. Yeah, I think when Mum died, then it was because it was so unexpected, and because it was, from my point of view, and because it was so, I didn't think it was ever going to happen. It didn't seem fair to me or right to me. Which, you know, when you go to school with all your friends and they've all got their moms and things, and then you're just like, oh,
I haven't. Yeah.
Exactly. So, I mean, there was a little bit of that on my part, but it could have been worse, I suppose. And that, I mean, it scars you for your life. I mean, you're never going to get over something like that, I don't think. Weirdly, when Dad passed away, it was almost like, because it was more in the natural order of things. He was in his 70s, he'd been ill, I knew it was going to happen. I'd had 35, 36 years with him.
And a whole more life experience. And
of course, yeah. So in that sense, it wasn't so much of a shock. Your life has turned upside down in every conceivable way.
And I suppose still, even like now, like when you got married, obviously she was topic of conversation as well.
Oh, gosh,
any big thing that you've done throughout your life ever since, if you haven't got like your mum or your dad or both of them there, it's very difficult. It's hard not to think about them.
Oh, it really
and think
is,
about the loss that you have.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. I guess with Mum now is, I spent the vast majority of my life now at the ripe old age of 42 years old. I've spent without a mum, so I don't know any better. Do you know what I mean? And I'm so used to it. It doesn't on a daily basis. It doesn't cross my mind. I don't think about it. I don't get sad about, well, occasionally, but I don't get sad about it. Like, but you're right. When it comes to life events, maybe things that should be there, the way you'd expect parents to be there. I mean, now it's, as we get older, it's probably a bit more. It happens less and less, but yeah, it does. You do get sad about it from time to time.
And as far as moving on from this earthly plane, do you think that people go to heaven, or do you think that once you die, that's it?
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay, that's
Well,
interesting.
I'm not saying I'm 100% convinced, and I'd like to think that that's not the case, but I certainly do not believe in a heaven or hell.
Do you believe in God?
No.
You don't believe in the big man upstairs?
Absolutely not.
So therefore you don't believe in the bad man downstairs either?
No. That for me is, I mean, I part of me just thinks when you die, it's almost like, if I say to you, tell me what life was like in 1955, and you'd say, well, I wouldn't know because I wasn't here. And I'd be like, exactly, it's the same. You're just not in existence anymore.
I know, but don't you like to think that somebody's looking over you?
I'd like to think it, but do I believe it? That's the difference. Okay. I'd absolutely like to think it, and I'm not going to refute it and say unequivocally 100% I do not believe it. And I think there's some interesting things in things like quantum physics and
it's very sciencey.
Yeah, it's very sciencey. Please don't ask me to explain, because I will fall flat on my face. But I've read some interesting theories in quantum physics that could. And
that appeals to you more than just there being a heaven?
Well,
I just hate to think that this is it.
Oh, I absolutely do.
This is it for us. Nothing, no golden gates at the end of it, no reward. This is it. This is the bullshit. This is life. This is all you're going to get. That's soul destroying for me.
But why are we going to get heaven? Why should we have a heaven? What?
I don't know, but I just feel like there has to be more than this. Because it rains all the time. But there has to be more than this, surely.
No, I agree. It does have to be more than this. But if you think, I mean, if you take it to a more scientific perspective, I guess, then we're all just energy, and energy cannot die.
So it's replaced back to the earth.
Well, it's not replaced. It's transformed into another form of energy. So therefore, in that sense, you could carry on. But the question is, would you carry on with your soul or with your brain? So yeah, I mean, you can't stop energy. It just transfers to a different form of energy. So light energy, heat energy, kinetic energy. So
I mean, I definitely think that like the physical body is just
a shell.
just a shell, yeah. Like we are just carrying around who we really are.
Mm.
And when they die, our soul leaves our body and that's our spirit, and we go off to like a spirit world.
Love it. I mean, I'd love it to be that.
I mean, I see that many dead bodies and I think to myself, there's no
Yeah.
way that that person is still
Yeah.
there. You can't look at anybody who's passed away and be like, oh, you can't see the real essence of the person.
Yeah. I mean, there's things that say. I mean, I agree with you there, and I do think that it is like there's something. There's something. We have a soul or I don't know, a soul. There's our personality. Something in us It's very difficult. I think almost impossible for us as a species to imagine that not being there and disappearing, being extinguished. And so, I guess the logical thing would be leaves our body and goes elsewhere. I just don't know. Yeah.
I know you love a bit of horror, so what
I dunno.
makes me think, I thought you would believe in like spirits. Do you believe in ghosts and spirits?
No, not really. But I love horror movies, but I also love fantasy movies and things with dragons in them and things. But again, I'm not saying that it's not something that I'm saying it doesn't exist. I just don't believe in. When I do watch them though, these horror movies, then part of my brain is activated into thinking, oh my god, they exist, and then
you get scared.
Yeah, then I get scared, and then like a bit later, I'm like, oh, for God's sake. But yeah, when the kind of, I suppose, whatever you want to call it, logical side or whatever kicks in, and it's like, oh, come on.
You can reason with yourself.
Yeah.
Because I went to a spiritualist lady recently.
Oh, yeah.
She's a medium.
Oh wow, okay.
Do you think sometimes these people are just trying to? People who are going are obviously going because they're searching for something.
Yeah, of course.
And they're hurt. They're lost. They've lost a loved one. They want answers. Part of me feels that they go to these things searching for those answers, and those people know that.
Oh, absolutely, they're preyed on, and it's psychology. I really believe that, and you have to forget these people are desperate enough to go somewhere in the belief that they're going to speak to their dead relative or friend or family member. They're willing to push aside any logic or the belief and the hope that they're going to have this message, because they're that desperate, and that's what these charlatans often they prey on. But I mean, I went to one. I was picked out.
No.
Yep.
And what did she say? She or he?
She. Yeah. This was convinced me that it was absolute
bullshit.
poppycock. Yeah.
Really.
She just asked very, very general questions. First of all, she said, "Do I have an uncle?" And I do have one uncle, my dad's brother, but don't have any on my mum's side. And she said, "Is your uncle still on this earthly plane?" And I said, "Yes." And she went, "Oh."
Are you sure?
Yeah, I almost took it like I don't really have much of a relationship with him, so I don't know. I didn't know whether or not he really was, but I guessed I'd have heard if he died. But then she said, "There's a girl sitting next to you, and she's looking at you very in a very loving way. You can tell she has a lot of affection for you." And then it was again this very, very open question. So, do you know any women or young girls that died when they were young? So I said, "Well, how young? Come on, be a bit more precise. You're supposed to know this." I didn't say that to her, but I said, "How young?" And she said, 21, 22, and I didn't. So I said, "No," and that cut her off again. So then she was like,
"Did she go? I'm not with you, darling. I'm with somebody else."
No,
somebody else, darling.
she carried on, didn't stop.
She still kept going.
About 5 or 6 different pieces, and every single one was an absolute clanger.
And nobody resonated with it in the audience, because sometimes people go, "Oh, you're with me."
No. She said, and then she said that the girl who was evidently fawning over me in this church was my spirit guide, and her name was Barbara.
Oh,
Barbara. So now, I mean, Barbara's a bit of a joke. But then I did find out a couple of years later that my granddad did have a sister called Barbara, but she didn't die when she was young.
Okay.
But I don't.
So you sort of think that that's not all true then? It's just a load of bollocks.
Oh God, absolutely. Yeah, I have no. Yeah, I think that's just psychology and preying on people.
So I know you're into horror. So do you think you're the sort of person would you want to run away, or do you think you'd stand there and
I'd run away.
Fight or flight?
I'd run away.
So you're definitely a runner. You wouldn't fight.
Oh, it really depends on what it is. Really depends on what it is. Yeah, and what I think generally I'm a runner, but if I had to, then or if there was a reason for me to not, then so had a weird dream last night, which is probably not quite well. I suppose it is on topic, where Arthur the cat. I was in a house with the cats, and somebody let some huge dogs in, and I picked the dog, and the dogs were chasing the cat, so I picked the cat up, and the dog was attacking the cat whilst I was holding it. And I know in that kind of instance, if it was protecting somebody I loved, my cat or Mike or my friends or anything, then in that sense, I know there wouldn't be any hesitation about it. But if it's just something like someone dying in front of me, I don't honestly know what I would do, because I don't feel I'd be qualified to help them. I'd probably make it worse. So because I'm not. Yeah, I don't know really. Yeah, really depends what it was. But
Yeah.
yeah, and if I felt I would be a help or a hindrance, and most of the time I'd probably be a hindrance.
So, if you could live anybody's life that you've
Yeah.
met, who would it be?
If I could live anybody's life,
Yeah. Is there anybody that you think, oh God, they lived a life?
no, my own.
I think I would be the same. I think I
Yeah.
would I don't think I would change my life.
Because
Although I'd like to have more money, but I don't think I would
well,
change
yeah,
my life.
exactly. But nobody's life is perfect, and my life is my own brand of non-perfect, and I'm happy
And
to
you're
deal with
owning
it.
it.
Well, yeah,
Absolutely.
you got to, ain't you?
Yeah.
But yeah, I couldn't. I mean, you instantly think of somebody rich and famous, or somebody who is perceived to have a great life. But what's the betting that they're miserable as shit? And
Money can't buy you happiness.
Exactly. So there are aspects of other people's lives that I'd gladly take, but I don't think. Yeah.
What do you think is the best scenario for you? Would you like to go peacefully in your
Yeah.
bed when you're old?
Yeah, absolutely. I
Would you
wouldn't.
like to live fast, die young?
No, I'd like to have a long, peaceful existence, and I wouldn't want to have some awful, debilitating disease, because it's not pretty and it's not pleasant,
No.
and it's a burden on everybody around you. And yeah, I would rather go at an old age.
Well, God forbid that's any time soon.
No, hopefully not. Yeah.
No, you've got quite a few more years left.
Well, I hope so. Yes, it would.
God forbid, though, if it was all to go to shit and you got knocked down tomorrow and it was over, because that does happen. People get up and go to work every day.
Oh God, yeah.
And they think they're coming home and they've got years left, and that's not always the case. Is there anything that you wish you had done?
If I died tomorrow,
Yeah.
absolutely, loads of things.
What sort of things would you do?
There's still so much more, I guess, of life, of experience in life. Different things.
Travel.
Of course, travel's a big thing. Seeing success in my ventures or doing what I do in work, or seeing my friends, get married, watch their kids grow up, my family, and that sort of thing is, I think, would be.
That's just the joy in life, isn't it?
Of course, yeah.
Just to see your friends and family happy.
Yeah.
And that is a shame if that's snatched away at any point, especially when it's snatched away too young.
Yeah, agreed.
But there's nothing outrageous that you'd want to do, like sing on stage or.
No, I mean.
Do a bungee jump.
No, I mean, no. I'd love to just learn more languages.
Oh my God. You're already a bilingual baddie.
Oh, I love
We can't
it.
have you learning anymore.
You know I love it. I just can't stop.
I know. How would you like to spend your last moment on Earth? Do you think that you'd like to be buried? Would you like a cremation?
It's hard.
Have you thought about it?
Yeah, I've thought about that. And grim ends, aren't they? I mean, I know it's only your
burning
body.
or burying.
Yeah,
it's not
exactly.
Very nice. Yeah.
And I know it's you aren't at home, so to speak. But still, the idea of this, everything you are being burnt or buried, I mean, they're both pretty awful. I don't know.
Especially if you're alive still.
Exactly, which is what I wouldn't want to happen. I don't know. I've still not made my mind up about that.
Would you be happy to leave it to your loved ones to, if they had to make
that
decision?
Absolutely. If they were put in that position, then I'll, do what you've got to do. I mean, I wouldn't care anyway, would I? So, but when I'm there,
no crazy songs you want? No celebrations? Do you want everyone to be really sad, or you want everyone to be having a party?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, sometimes there are songs that I hear and I think that would be a lovely song for my funeral. But honestly, I do think that
Oh
I'd
my
love that song
God.
to be played at my funeral. Not that
So
I'm going to be there.
positive.
Yeah, just weird. Like, yeah, there's been a few songs over the years that I thought. I'm pretty sure my funeral would probably involve Vogue of some sort.
Oh,
You know,
100%.
yeah. But no, I definitely want people to have fun and just celebrate it rather than mourn, and
Celebrate life rather than be sad about it.
because there's a lot to be sad about, and I don't think it's worth it.
No, I mean, life's too short, isn't it?
Yeah,
To be thinking about that.
absolutely.
And is there anything you would say to your loved ones that you left behind if you didn't get the chance to say it in person? Is there anything you'd say, even if it was like the bins go out on Tuesday and don't forget to feed the cats? You know,
Well, yeah,
what would you?
I would have to say things like that. No, it'd be good. That's a
I-
really hard one. I don't know because I don't know what I'd say. It's really, yeah,
It is difficult to know what you left.
it is really. I'd certainly. Yeah, I don't know. I think if I knew I was dying, you had that time, I would probably come up with a list. I'd love something. I'd even probably leave messages or videos or things like that if I had the time or the knowledge.
Only if you knew you were going.
Yeah, yeah. I think stuff like that is invaluable, I have to say. So,
Well, I suppose it immortalises you then for all time, and it can be rewatched and reused. And
yeah, and I think just something extra because your memory's a wonderful thing, but over time it can deteriorate, or it doesn't stick to 100% the way things were, and something like that I think is certainly invaluable. I love the things that I have from my parents, and just I wish I had more, but yeah.
And I know that you're a bugger for recording things because you always catch me laughing, or
Oh,
if
mate, I
we're doing
love
something
it.
stupid,
But that's part of it, isn't it?
you
Because
always record it, and it's
you,
mortifying.
no, but it's not. Well, it isn't. It's not, I suppose. But it's not now. I mean, if we watch some of the things from like 10, 15 years ago,
I'd be cringing my head off.
yeah, I suppose, yeah. But there's still some elements of it that are just lovely.
Oh, it's funny. It's funny. Yeah.
And
It's nice to catch the real essence of a person.
absolutely,
You know,
yeah.
like what they were like, what they liked doing, what made them laugh.
No, totally.
And you're very different when you're with your friends than when you're with your family.
Totally.
And when you're a mum, or when you're a dad, or when you're busy, or you're doing things at work.
Yeah.
We wear all these hats, don't we? And it's hard to capture somebody, like in a eulogy or something. It's hard to capture the whole individual.
I think it's a good idea though at a funeral. Maybe if you had somebody, you'd have different people from your life speaking. So, yeah.
I don't want anyone from when I was in my 20s.
Get James to do a eulogy.
Yeah.
I don't think he'd make it through.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure about that one.
Yeah.
Well, it's been lovely talking to you, and thank you for being a guest. And you know that I love and appreciate you so
Thank
much
you for
because
having me.
you're
Love you
such
too.
an inspiring individual. And
Well, I don't know about that.
until next time, we should just try and keep living, hopefully.
Absolutely.
Because life, it's a death sentence.
So thank you, dear listeners. If you've enjoyed our show, then please do all the stuff that will help promote us.
Like and share our podcast and follow us on socials, and please subscribe too. If you've got any feedback, it's most welcome, so please contact us.
Likewise, if there's a subject you'd like us to cover, please do get in touch, and thank you for your support.
We are dying to talk to you.